urban legends, folklore, unique history, whatever makes your town unique. We call them hometown tales because every town has one.
Hey everybody, it's the Hometown Tales vidcast once again. We're out in the Jersey woods looking for more footage for our infamous Bigfoot segment, which is a year in the making. And I'm not even sure it's worth the wait, but it will come eventually. Right now, speaking of woods and forests, Leo the lion, the famous MGM lion, he has been known to roam the woods. But more importantly, his grave, when he died, he was buried on an old abandoned farm just close to us, right outside of Morristown, New Jersey. So we're going to show you that segment next. And I also want to remind you to go to hometowntales.com because black shirts are very popular, but they're even cooler if you get one with a little Hometown Tales logo on it. You can find that on our site. And if we sell enough, I could hopefully get a haircut, which I'm desperately in need of. I will put on my Hometown Tales hat. If we were in a football stadium playing, this would be the hat that they sold in the parking lot for like $5. That's from Brian. It's not really the logo. Real underground. Leo's Lost Grave on the Hometown Tales vidcast. Please email us, hometowntales@gmail.com. Check us out. Before Hollywood, New Jersey was once the motion picture capital of the world. After all, Thomas Edison first captured images on emulsion here. And Fort Lee and the Palisades were home to many major movie studios in the 20s and 30s. With show business thriving in the state and the Big Apple just a stone's throw away, a famed animal trainer settled on a farm in Gillette, New Jersey. On this farm, he would bury one of the most famous felines from the silver screen. Today, this famous animal lies underneath an old tree unknown to most passers-by, not a gravestone or marker to commemorate his passing. The early days of showbiz sent Vonlee Pfeiffer, an animal trainer and trapper, across the globe in search of lions for a new picture. In transit, one of the lions died and left Vonlee in a bind. Making a quick stop in the Sudan, he came across another lion, inadequate, unhealthy, and the runt of the litter. Goldwyn Studios, which would eventually merge with Mayer Studios to become MGM, used a lion as its trademark. When they noticed Pfeiffer and Leo's trick, they filmed and recorded him to be placed before each of their films. Pfeiffer took Leo on MGM tours and fairs across the country, and Pfeiffer himself bought a farm just past the Great Swamp in New Jersey. It was there that he set up a mini zoo and farm where he kept some of his animals. Joe DuPont, longtime resident and Leo the Lion activist, remembers Pfeiffers Farm as a child.
The farm was created to house animals for the Broadway shows in New York. It was illegal to keep that type of animals, whether they're reindeers, anything, in New York City. So the deal was they'd keep them here and they'd bring them in for the shows, and then when they're done with the show, they bring them right back here. There was always, even when we moved here, and even after Vonlee's death, they still had lions down there. Kids used to bring, snakes and things like that and swap them to get into the place. Instead they didn't have any money, so they would bring them things and they'd, take them and.
Pfeiffer's niece, Joanne Rains, wrote a book about an American family's odyssey during the Depression and World War II. As a child, her family lived on the farm, and she was even there when her uncle buried Leo. She recalls having her picture taken with the animal, her brother, and cousin at the Chicago World's Fair.
At the fair, there was no glass between us and Leo. Leo seemed much interested in our presence. He sniffed us, licked his lips with his giant tongue, shook his golden mane, and made little growls, which didn't seem little at all. I can testify personally that Leo had lots of golden hair, enormous white shiny teeth, and big fat paws. Finally, Uncle Vonlee turned his attention to us and focused his camera. The moment the camera clicked, I, who certainly knew better, stuck out my tongue right at the camera, right at Uncle Vonlee, and no one scolded me.
The MGM tours took Leo on adventures all over the world. He even survived a plane crash while touring. Eventually, the friendly feline was retired to the Philadelphia Zoo, where he spent his last days. When he passed in 1938, the remains were given to Vonlee Pfeiffer.
He was buried on the farm under a large tree with a road marker and flowers as a grave. Over the years, the farm became overrun, and Leo's marker and flowers eventually faded. Gillette resident Joe DuPont has been an activist for recognition of Leo's gravesite for years.
The original owners of the property were kind of antagonistic towards the whole thing, whether for good or bad reasons. I'm not going to be totally judgmental on that, but I think in terms of history of this region, it was important that that such an icon be remembered and kind of memorialized from the standpoint of Leo the lion is probably one of the most recognized animals in the world. As of now, MGM could never understand or comprehend how this was, I think, a positive thing for MGM to somewhat be involved. So it's something that I'm totally disbelief that MGM didn't jump on this and say, wow, here's a good way to get like a free ad and just kind of chime in on it and make it a fun thing. But apparently, actually they sent me a letter, telling me to be very careful not to have any infringements on the MGM trademark. So.
Currently, the new owners of the property are open to the idea of a memorial or marker to represent Leo. It's just a matter of coordinating all the different parties to organize this. If you have further information on Leo the MGM Lion or are interested in helping further the cause, please contact us at Hometown Tales. And if you're driving in Gillette and you pass an abandoned old farm with an old pine tree, be respectful, because you might be at the grave of one of the most famous animals in show business.